Hi guys, I wanted to do a quick review of my Rock River Arms LAR-8 in 308 Winchester. Here she is. I picked this up for myself as a Christmas present. Been thinking about getting an AR for a long time, and finally decided to pull the trigger, no pun intended. Just with the recent events in the news and all the stuff going on with the talk of gun control and things like that. I felt like I needed to buy it now, just to make sure that I would be able to actually buy it. I feel like in the not too distant future, probably guns like this may not be available for sale legally any longer. So wanted to move on that and get it while the getting was good, as it were. So just kind of about the rifle a little bit. It's the RRA, it's the LAR-8, the standard A4 model, which is the flat top, doesn't have any sights, doesn't come with any sights, that is, which was fine for me because I wanted to use it to hunt predominantly. So I had planned on putting an optic on it, so that's actually what I was looking for. This one in particular, I've got a loopholed VXR 4 to 12 by 50 millimeter, and I've got that sitting in a Burris PEPR single piece mount. And just to get a little bit off topic for a second, a lot of the reviews and folks and stuff that I've read online about this particular mount have said that it's kind of like the entry level, if you will, of single piece mounts. But I've got to say, my dad had this. He bought one for his AR, and he recommended it to me, so I picked it up. And I've got to say, I've been happy with it. I can't find any faults with it. Basically it's a hunk of metal, so I don't really know exactly what kind of features, what kind of advanced features you get in a different hunk of metal. The way I look at it, it's kind of metal is metal, and if it grabs on the gun and holds the scope, then it does what you bought it for. One thing I will say, kind of in hindsight, they do make a version of this. They make two versions. They make one that's quick detach and one that's not. This one is the non-quick detach version, and now that I've had the gun for a little while, I think that if I had to do it again, I would buy the quick detach version, just in case I ever have some reason I want to take the scope off quickly. I could definitely see quick detach if you're planning on using a rifle like this in a tactical sense, when if you got an optic malfunction, you want to be able to rip it off there and flip up some iron sights real fast to whatever it is that whatever situation you may be in where you need to do that rapidly. Me personally, I don't really see the wisdom of using a 20-inch rifle for home defense or things like that, especially this thing is probably going to shoot right through the walls and kill your neighbor, so I don't think that it's the best choice for something like that. I didn't have any intent of doing that, but like I said, and I said I was only going to get off topic here for a second, and I have a tendency to kind of ramble on, as you can tell. But the quick detach version is only like maybe $20 more, and I think it's money well spent, just because it gives you that flexibility. If you ever decide to change up what you're going to use the rifle for, put it on another rifle in the future, it gives you a bit more flexibility that way. Let's see what else. One of the things that a lot of folks that I've read online, one of the advantages that people list for this particular gun is it'll take both standard and metric FAL mags. And if you read the reviews online, people will have you believing that there are just billions upon billions of these FAL mags, surplus mags just sitting out there. And if you believe what you read online, folks will tell you you can go to a gun show and pick up 10 of them for $50. Which was very appealing to me, considering that a normal AR on a 308 on an AR type platform mag, you're looking at paying 30 or $40 for it. So when I saw that I could get those FAL surplus mags for $5 or $10 a pop, that was definitely an advantage when it comes to total cost of ownership of the rifle. So I kind of got suckered into that and didn't do my research before I bought it. And what I found since then is those surplus FAL mags that are supposedly everywhere are basically nowhere. I've been to several local places, pretty good gun stores, decent selection, and they basically laughed me out of the store when I asked about them, so definitely not finding them locally anywhere. And you can definitely find vendors online that have them in the catalog, but when it actually comes time to order one and finding somebody that's got them in stock, that's another thing. So definitely do some research and make sure that you can actually find someone that's got any of these, any of those mags. If that's a major determining factor is going with this rifle versus another one, you know, being able to load up on mags inexpensively. So make sure you can actually find them somewhere. So the first time I shot the rifle was actually the day after I brought it home, and it's actually kind of funny. I opened it on Christmas. I bought it before Christmas, but you know, the wife says, you know, if you're buying it for yourself for Christmas, you have to wait until Christmas to open it. So sat under the tree for about a month, and every day I came out and kind of looked at it and said, you know, I'd really like to play around with that a little bit, but I honored her decree and waited till Christmas to open it. But it's kind of funny because I actually hadn't. We went hunting with my dad and myself. Went hunting the day after Christmas, and I took this with the intent of using it, and I hadn't had a chance to sight it in or anything. So I actually sighted this in for the first time off the tailgate on his truck, just shooting at about 75 yards out in the woods. So wasn't the best conditions to sight it in, but I managed to get it sighted pretty well. Actually ended up killing 2 does with it the first day we went, and then the next day I shot another doe. And all of those clean kills, no problems at all. So the reason I went with the .308 caliber was because I wanted to be able to hunt with it, and predominantly I'm shooting at either white-tailed deer or hogs, and I can vouch that it definitely does work for those 2 species. As far as accuracy, when I got back and had a chance to actually get out to a range, this right over here is what I shot. This is the hand load. This is a recipe I used here was Winchester case, CCI 200 large rifle primers, and 43 grains of Reloader 15 powder. And that at 100 yards, I'd call that about 1 inch group. I've got a 5th flyer up there. It's a 5-shot group, so there's 4 touching and then there's a flyer. And I was supremely happy with that. Rock River, I believe, claims or guarantees 1 inch accuracy at 100 yards. And I think the group may be a tiny bit smaller than that, but I'll call it 1 inch. And I'm by no means the best shot in the world, so I was very happy with that. I actually looked online, and a lot of the folks were saying Varget was the way to go as far as powder for hand loads. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any for the first batch, so I went with the Reloader 15 because I saw some folks that had some success with that as well. I've since sourced some Varget, and I've got another couple sets of hand loads ready to go for the next time I get out to the range. So I'm anxious to see how that compares in terms of accuracy with the Reloader 15. And one thing I will say, I don't know, I'll kind of prefix that with the caveat that this is the first AR platform rifle I've ever owned. It's by no means the first rifle I've owned, but it's the first AR style. And I was really surprised at how dirty they get. So I went to the range and put maybe 20 rounds through it. Took it home and broke it down and started cleaning it, and I was just amazed at how much carbon had built up from just that little bit of shooting. And one thing I will say about it is it's definitely a bit more involved to clean this rifle than it is a bolt action rifle, or definitely a bolt action rifle and even a lever action rifle where there's some more disassembly required. I've also got a Savage 110 bolt action in 30-06, and I'll say I can clean that decently in about 5 minutes. This rifle, I'd say it takes about maybe 20 minutes to do a good job. My dad has a Rock River Predator Pursuit 20-inch in 5.56, and his is chrome, everything basically. And his rifle with the chrome, the carbon just wipes right off. It's very easy to clean, but mine not so much. So that's another, you know, in hindsight, maybe if I was going to buy this rifle again, I would look for a model that had the chrome bolt and everything like that, so it's easier to clean. I'm just using CLP to clean it. That's worked well for me. My dad had some slip 2000, so I tried that the second time I cleaned it. In both of them I noticed when you take the bolt carrier and the bolt out and you try to get in all those little crevices and things in there to get all the carbon off, it's definitely a lot more involved than what I'm used to for bolt guns. And like I said, I don't know if that's anything specific to this rifle. I kind of have the impression that it's probably more of an AR thing in general, so don't necessarily take that as, you know, a detracting thing from this rifle. But I'll throw that out there and let you make your own assessment. And, you know, just keep in mind, like I said, this is the first AR that I've ever owned, and for that matter, ever cleaned. So take it for what it is. Let's see what else. I think that's about it. All in all, I would say I'm happy with the rifle. I like it. As I said, I bought it with the intent of using it as a hunting rifle. If I was, you know, looking for something more tactical, I definitely probably would have gone with the 5.56, something lighter weight, something more designed for that. But for the purposes I bought it for, I'm very happy with it. One thing I wanted to touch on before I wrap it up here, a couple of the other reviews and things that I've seen online, some of the guys have mentioned that the recoil can really be problematic with this rifle, and I definitely don't get that at all. Comparing it to the Savage 110 and 30-06, I feel like I could sit with this rifle, sit at the bench with it and shoot for 2 hours with no problem. The 30-06, on the other hand, after 4 or 5 shots, my shoulder's letting me know that it's taking some punishment. And if I were to sit, you know, shooting that, after about 20 minutes, I'm ready to call it quits, just because the shoulder is, you know, starting to hurt. But with this rifle, definitely don't feel it at all. So another thing, I'm 6'4" and 220 pounds, so I'm a bigger guy. So maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe if you're a bit smaller, then it might be problematic. But I just wanted to say that I don't mind the recoil at all, and feel it's quite manageable. And just one other thing that I just thought of. Some of the folks will say, you know, if you're going with an AR style chamber for 308 Winchester, weight is another factor to be cognizant of. Where I hunt, I'm still hunting from a stand, so the farthest I carry the rifle is 300 or 400 yards from the truck to the stand. So I'm not carrying it far by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't find the weight bothersome. It's certainly heavier than other rifles, but I don't find it to be a problem. So, you know, naturally, anything you get chambered in 308 is going to weigh more than something you buy in 5.56. But if you're, you know, looking for something to hunt with, then I definitely think that, you know, the 308 is something that's going to serve you better, and open up a lot more options to you, give you more flexibility. But I just wanted to mention the weight, because a lot of folks have said that they're put off on buying a rifle in 308 Winchester because they're afraid it's going to be too heavy. And I haven't found that to be the case at all. If I was carrying this around the woods all day, then maybe it'd be a different story. But other than that, I think that's about it. So I'm going to wrap this up. Just wanted to put this out there to hopefully answer any questions, help you guys learn a bit more about the rifle. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them, and I'll do my best to get back to you. So thanks for watching.